you ask that player, it's because they're making these precise micro refinements to their technique that require 100% concentration, and that's difficult for them to do in a group setting with other people watching, other mistakes. Now, the last time I checked, one-on-one tutoring was not possible to do with most children in the world. So I leave it as a challenge to the educators to figure out how can you increase the percentage of concentration? How can you maintain that concentration that comes so easily in solitude when that's not the reality of everyday classroom instruction? Still, it's important to realize how experts practice and to wonder how close we can get to that. The third thing that students need to learn is the same thing that dogs need to learn, or rats need to learn, or really every living creature, which is I'm not telling you anything you didn't know before, but in my own experience as an educator and as a student, there's simply not enough feedback, and it's not immediate enough, right? Here's your quiz. I might give it back to you in 2 weeks, and I might tell you why it is that you got these things wrong. That's not how experts practice, right? So informative and immediate feedback is the third crucial step. I rarely see this in common education. Fourth and finally, you need to reflect on the feedback. You need to deliberately and consciously make a refinement, like, oh, well, that didn't go so well. Maybe I'll try dividing both sides by 7 next time. And then you need to repeat the whole thing over again from the beginning. So this idea of doing all 4 elements of deliberate practice sounds great. Maybe it is. Research suggests that it's tremendously effective and more effective than any other kind of practice, no matter what it is that you are practicing. And yet, this is how the great dancer Martha Graham describes the experience of doing deliberate practice. She says, it takes about 10 years to make a mature dancer. Dancing appears glamorous, easy, delightful, but the path to the paradise of that achievement is not easier than any so great that the body cries even in its sleep. There are times of complete frustration. There are daily small deaths. She may have been exaggerating. She was an artist after all. But if you ask what it feels like to do the kind of that keeps them on the learning curve, from that middling plateau of arrested development, it's not unlike Martha's description. And this, I think, is the relevance of grit, right? Deliberate practice is not something you do only. Deliberate practice is not something you do unless you have passion that is intrinsic for what you're pursuing. And deliberate practice is nothing that you can sustain if you don't have at least some level of perseverance. I'm going to take you a very quick tour of some research findings showing how important grit is, but I'm going to spend most of my time on building it. Very quickly, the national young children who have won a competition in their school that says they're very good spellers try to win the national prize of the best speller in the country of the United States. And we took these students and we asked them, they were aged 7 to 14, we asked them to keep a little diary of what they did to prepare for the national competition. Now, in the dark gray bars on the left, you have deliberate practice. And you can see that kids in the National Spelling Bee, as precocious and accomplished as they already are, find this kind of deliberate practice to be not very enjoyable and very effortful. Now, the other 2 kinds of practice that kids wrote about were being quizzed by mom or dad. So mom might say, Ursprache, and you would say, Ursprache, U-R-S-P-R-C-H-E, Ursprache, which was the winning word the year of this study. Or you might actually do reading and play word games, which in this study was rated about as easy and about as enjoyable as eating ice cream. So you can ask the question, is the kind of practice that kids just intrinsically enjoy because it's fun and it's easy, is that what's going to make them win the national spelling? Or is it this deliberate practice? And you find that deliberate practice that predicts how you end up in the final rounds, how well you do, better than any other kind of practice. And furthermore, you find that it's passion and